What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and whether it's something you should go grab or not. In this one, I'm going to be going over Superman number 10. And in Superman number 10, I just have to say, this is the best comic book I have ever read. So, done. End of review. Not really, because what we got to do is we got to go a little bit further into this actual story. So, what makes it one of the best books that I've ever read? There's a whole heck of a lot going on here, so let's start at the beginning. We're going to open up with John and his girlfriend, his blonde girl who's a friend, and they're walking through the hallways, they're talking about their science projects, they're dodging bullies, those kind of things, until he runs into this little girl named Maya, who gets knocked over, and evidently, she's going to be coming up in this story a little bit later. They cross over by this hollow swamp and whatnot. He goes out into there, venturing while she takes off for her grandfather, and gets scared because he's a boy, he's a kid, he doesn't necessarily have control over all those emotions, he can't fight his fear at this point in time, and then all of a sudden he vision's about to go bonkers until he's rescued by the girl from before, who happens to be Nobody. So Nobody made her first appearance way back in Robin stories and things like that. So she's got Goliath, and evidently she was doing recon on him for Damian. And next thing you know, Superboy sneezes, freezes everything. They go smashing into the ground. Goliath saves him, of course, but he wakes up drugged and restrained, and Damian is behind the whole thing. He's basically made him incapacitated because he is a terror. He is a threat to the entire world. And that's one of the funniest things about it, because you see Damian being a little D-bag again, and you get this sense that it's just like, okay, he draws the line between being a 13-year-old and being an assassin, and he just kind of weaves back and forth between being a kid and being a complete, controlled, murdering machine. And I find that really interesting. It's a really fun dynamic to handle. The next thing that we really see is the arrival of Batman. So Bat Dad is about to lay down the law, and he's just like, unstrap him, make sure that he's awake before this happens. And Superman just comes in like a freight train. He is ready to brawl. He is like, what is going on? Why did you take my son? Bruce, what are you doing? And he's just like ready to throw down. And Batman's got the kryptonite batarang, and he's just about to, it's Batman versus Superman with the super kids down in the basement of wherever the hell they are. And I was just like, oh shit. It hit the fan, man. It's going to go down until, John ultimately blows out his new freeze breath, a new power that he just found, and separates them all. And then it's all really kind of a touching moment. Like, Superman's just like, oh man, I missed that one too. It's like, you got this first step, this first take of your new powers. And that's where he gets kind of like this down-to-earth father feeling. And Batman gets the same thing, but he's just like, I miss some of Damian's too. Way worse. And Damian's just like, yeah, more bloody. And the dynamic, the split between the personalities, like you've got wholesome hayseed over here, and then you've got dark and brooding over there, and it's just so perfect the way that everything's played off. And then there's this really great little panel where you just see Goliath, and his eyes are all like, he looks like a really sad dog, and I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. We move further along, we get to a situation where Alfred takes him out to see, all of Damian's pets. So you've got like Bat Cow, and you've got his cat and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, Damian, being the little shit that he is, he's just like needling. He's just like, yeah, why don't you just go away? That way you don't fry any more of your innocent mom's house pets and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, you just see John, first real violent reaction, and just plows into Robin. And now I was just like, oh no, did he kill him? Of course not, because evidently John, his powers are really tied to his emotions. So if he doesn't have emotional control, he doesn't have his power. So it's going to require focus. So that's a very interesting characteristic of the Superboy character that just got revealed in this issue. We continue on, there's a big battle, and then all of a sudden, all these mixed chemicals, and ba-boom, and it gives you this great visual of the boys in front of their dads, like, oh no, we're in trouble now. And you just remember that they're teenagers and like little kids facing up against superhero fathers, and I found it super entertaining. And this basically reaffirms the fact that Superman is telling a story that people can appreciate. Whether you're talking about, like father figures, or you're talking about kids, there's a whole lot of stuff in this book that people can really be entertained by. The art is fantastic. It really complements the whole story and subject matter really well, and it's very all ages friendly. It's one of the coolest books that's out there, and it's definitely been one of the most consistent from the beginning to the end. From issue 1 to issue 10, this has really been one of the best series of Superman books I have ever read. And I didn't really read a lot of Superman, but this has definitely made me a fan fan of this particular story, and Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, knocking it out of the park. The other interesting thing about this is that it sets up the Super Sons book, which is coming out in February, so this is going to be your first idea as to the interaction between Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, and how they're really going to play off each other in this Super Sons book. You know, they're not going to be best buddies right from the beginning, but it's going to be a really good indication of how that real storytelling aspect is going to be going down. I'm really a big fan of Superman number 10. Superman in general has been a really good book, so definitely go out and grab it, pick it up. It's awesome. I can't recommend it enough, especially because of how fun this is. You know, it's the introduction of a new story arc, and it's just pure entertainment. It is the definition of entertaining. So that's my recommendation for you guys. So those are my thoughts on Superman number 10, but I want to know what you guys thought too, so hit me up in the comments down below. We can start that conversation and talk about those things. So, as always, if you like what you see, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.